Well, I'm just going to stream now. David can join in any time he wants. He might have forgot, like I say, Friday absolutely throws every bugger off the scent, to be quite honest with you. Um, I'm sure we are live now. So yeah, Packer Andrews in the channel already. All right, mate. You welcome. No bother for looking at your stream, pal. Richie, what did you think of today then?
I think the game plan went out the window as soon as Hume got sent off. That was it. It was done. We had to change for style completely. And I sympathise with the team today actually because looking back, I've had a good watch now of what the Hume incident, and it was nothing. Most referees would just say, "Nah, wave it off," and it was one of them. And I think it was a harsh decision. Now looking after I've seen it a few times, sending Hume off. I know there's like the argument of him being last man. I can see that, and that is the rules, but not in that situation because their player was actually going to go towards sort of like the corner flag area, sort of like on the outside of the 18-yard box. That's the way he was heading. He wasn't heading through on goal. And I think it was just a shocking decision now, looking back by the referee. And then obviously we had to change for style, and then we had Riggy and Lafay playing in the middle, and we were getting dominated in the middle. We were playing well on the wings as well. They were stretching them right out. But positive notes, I actually really think we defended well. We played like one of them low blocks, you know what I mean? That are awful to play against. But we did it very, very well. And we had a couple of good performances, in my opinion. Obviously, we had 09 and Metham who played. Again, I thought they played both outstanding. And Hielda, he got a bit of stick saying, he wasn't quite at it today, but he cleared the ball off the line for it. You know what I mean? It could have been a lot different. And I don't think he played that badly, but he certainly didn't do anything wrong. And what can I say about my ender, Cabbie? What an absolute goal that is. I've watched it back about 10 times now on YouTube, and it's just unbelievable the amount of players he took on as well, and the pace and the composure and the confidence that he showed. I mean, brilliant, and I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself, to be honest with you. Just had a message from Davey. He's not feeling it up tonight, so not to worry, mate. I'm sure we'll be watching wherever he is. So take care, Davey, whatever you're up to, fella. Trisha Winstanley's in. Evening, Cabbie, Davey, Richie, and all my fellow Black Cats. Thanks, Trisha, for the donation to the channel as well. I do appreciate that. Massive thank you. Ollie Alexander says the reffing was a disgrace. The formation was like a 4-2-3. He says, and Colin Major is in the house. He says, by the way, what an individual goal by me Yenda. But I don't know if you've seen the Middlesbrough game, the highlights, but have a look at the Middlesbrough-Plymouth match. Middlesbrough got awarded a penalty in the last minute. Have you seen it?
I haven't, no.
It was literally a carbon copy of ours, but only worse.
Right.
The fact, like, Hume literally just touched the fibres of his shirt and he went tumbling out like an earthquake. Virtually the same thing happened at Middlesbrough, but even less sort of contact. He must have literally just went like, touched like that, and he just went hauling arse. He just went straight to the floor. And he made a right meal of it, honestly. And got the player sent off and a penalty as well. That's why I keep saying we need VAR in the Championship, whether you like it or lump it. It'll stop all that cheating and crap going on,
Yeah.
Because what you have to realise is, and as we all know, the referee sees that in real time, and it's fast when it's happening. I mean, he just has to be obscured by at least something, and that probably does look like a penalty. But that's why they need VAR. I do, whether you disagree in it or not, but I'm pretty certain if they appeal for that red card, it will get rescinded without a shadow of a doubt, because that wasn't a red card.
No.
Yeah, and Tricia says it was a shocking decision by the ref, and it should be investigated into. Rooster Corborn says, what formation was 4-2-3? No problem at all, says Tricia. Take care, Davey. Hope you're feeling better soon, mate. Yeah, no problem. I'm sure he's watching, and I'm sure he will catch up with us at some point. But yeah, I mean, when I said on Total Sport, I thought like the Sunderland, they seemed to try a lot harder, but you could just see by the response that at Ashton Gate how much Bristol City needed that and they wanted that. You got Coventry breathing down the necks. We were never going to defend the whole of the second half the way we were. We were too deep with 10 men. We were never going to defend, and I think come away with a point the way Bristol City were coming at us. It was, I think it was, well, down when we were down to 10 men, I think it was a fair result, but it would have been a different story if we were at 11 men, I would say. But no, I thought like that was like a warm up for us. But we'll go back to Watson. I mean, the amount of Sunderland fans that are slagging Watson off. I mean, they're all saying, never start him again, never start him. I mean, if he hadn't have been going to Brighton, do you think the Sunderland fans would be saying that about Watson today?
No. Of course I wouldn't. It's just, like we said before, Cabbie, it's just bitterness. That's all it is. It's just somebody to target, I think, at the minute. I mean, every single one of them today had a tough game today. And the amount of abuse that Watson's getting. I mean, yeah, fair enough, he did make a fair few mistakes. I'm not going to deny that, because of course he did. He gave the ball away a number of times as well, but he wasn't even playing in his natural position much today. He was having to cover in that midfield on that left-hand side because we needed that extra body in midfield. I mean, Paddy Roberts was obviously doing his best to sort of cover that right-hand side. But he was playing in midfield for the majority of the first half, as well as trying to push out on the wing. So if anything, he did have a hard job. And in his defence, in my opinion, I didn't see any sort of anything bad from him. He did have a bit of work ethic today. You know, he was trying, and I think it's natural for your heads to go down. You do lose a bit of sort of morale in the game, but there was nothing that he did overly bad, in my opinion. And like you say, if he wasn't on his way to Brighton, there wouldn't be anything like this being said about him. Would have said, oh, well, he's had a poor game, and that was it. It's just one of these things, Cabbie, that, you know, it's kind of like human nature. They gather in packs and they target one just because. And that's all it is. It's just pettiness.
I know. I mean, I've still said this before. If we get to the playoff final, what they're going to do if he scores the winner?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, it's literally, I just can't believe how many negative comments there is with Watson. They really are having a go. I'm going to have a look at some of the what the player ratings have been saying as well. These are usually pretty accurate, what these player ratings are doing. I've got a funny feeling they'll be mostly positive, I would say, if I just get them and fetch them up. Even Sky Sports are saying, wow, this solo effort from Eliza Mienda. Even Gary Bennett says we went down to 10 men. It was a brave display from Sunderland. I think it was indeed. Right, here we go. Here's the player ratings. We've got Anthony Patterson. He got a 6 out of 10. Apparently, they say no chance with either goal. Both well struck efforts, but was protected really well, other than those today. got lucky with the offside goal in the first half after he only palmed a shot straight at an opposition player. Patterson, you think he had a decent game? I think he was all right.
Yeah, he did. Nothing he could do about the 2 goals. Obviously, the first one was like a rocket, and it was straight in the top corner. The second one was a mistake by Job, and he had no chance to react to it. So, no, he wasn't at fault for the goals. Like, so yeah, it was just an average performance, wasn't it?
Yeah. I do agree with you on that one. Trey Hume doesn't get anything because he didn't have a chance to score. Chris Meffin got an 8 out of 10. Had to be at his best today with the team being down to 10 men for so long. He read the game well and was on the end of a number of balls in our box. I agree with that one. I thought Chris Meffin was good. You think yourself at Chris Meffin? Do you think he had a good game?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100% he did. I mean, there's been like that in a few games for now, Cabbie, hasn't he? You know what I mean? He did have a terrible game. Trying to remember who it was against now. I think it was West Brom. Might be wrong. He did have one bad game, but apart from that, he's been absolutely rock solid for it. And I think without him, you know what I mean, it would have been in a lot more trouble than we are. But he seems to organise the defence as well quite well. If you watch him, you know what I mean. He's always, you know, sort of like helping other players into the positions and into the marking as well. But him and 09 today, they've got a good partnership.
Luke 09, 7 out of 10. Switched to right back following Hume's departure and held up well over there. We missed his distribution, but he was solid. A lot of fans blaming him for the part of the sending off. I didn't see it. Have you yet to see that? What happened? Did he give the ball away or something? I mean...
Yeah, and then it's kind of put the winger through. I don't know what their winger's name is, but put their winger through, and then obviously Trey Hume's the one that's having to chase him back, you know what I mean? So it was a mistake by 09. That's fair. But he still, apart from that, he never really put a foot wrong, and he covered right back really well as well, you know what I mean?
Leo Helder defended pretty well down the left, blocking a number of crosses and clearing a shot off the line. I think he's improving with every game. Since he's come back, Helder, I do think he's doing all right. Dan Neil, 9 out of 10. Started really brightly, starting a counter following an interception, but had to switch to centre-back after the red card and was very good there. Won a number of balls into the box and was calm in possession to pick out a teammate. Did get away with an overly confident header in the box, but a very good showing in the circumstances. I think Dan Neil was superb today. Like,
especially having to drop back into centre half, that's not an easy job to do. But he did, and he led by example. He led by example for once as well. You know what I mean? He looked a bit more fired up today than what he normally is. But yeah, great. I mean, he's just showing his leadership there, isn't he? Dropping in, covering that position well. So yeah, hats off to him today.
Chris Rigg, 7 out of 10, sat in front of the defence following the red card and managed to clear the ball from danger a number of times. But once again, he wasn't able to play for his full potential because of the way we had to be set up. But I don't think it was a bad one by Chrissy Rigg either, to be honest with you. Enzo Lefay, 7 out of 10, like Rigg, had to take up a more defensive role following Hume's dismissal and worked hard to protect the defence with a good few blocks around the box. But like I say, he couldn't really perform to his best, could he? Nobody really could today. Patrick Roberts only got a 6 out of 10, had to work really hard on the right, but came close to scoring in the first half and set Meander away early after the break. But for a defender to bring down the striker when he would have been bearing down on goal. Tommy Watson, listen to this, he's got a 0 out of 10, right? He says, not sure why he played the full 90 minutes, as it looked for the whole world that he didn't want to put the required effort in. Absolutely no threat on the counter and was just a body on the pitch. Barely challenged for the ball whenever it came its way. And I've never really seen any 0 out of 10s for Tommy Watson. It's off the Roker Report. They're really good, the Roker Report lot. we can't get away from the fact that he was awful today. You know, some fans are saying, like, I use a lot of mad saying, you know, he was good. We're not saying he was good. We are just saying this is also fueled because of the fact he's off to Brighton. He's like he's a bit of a scapegoat, I think, at the minute. But I'm not getting away with the fact that he was dreadful today. He didn't do a thing. You know, but I honestly believe if he wasn't going to Brighton, I'm not saying they wouldn't turn around and say he was absolutely awful, but I also believe if Tommy Watson his head wasn't turned to go to Brighton, I think you'd see a different player today. Ever since Brighton approached Watson in January transfer window, he's not been the same player since.
I agree.
I don't think.
I'm not saying he's done a good job today, because he hasn't like some of them as well on the pitch, but like, you know, he had to cover 2 positions today. I'm not making excuses for the kid. It's just he had to cover 2 positions. He couldn't play his natural game. And I think a 0 out of 10 is a bit harsh. Maybe about a 5. I think that'll be a bit of a better rating for him. But I mean, he did give the ball away a lot. He wasn't at his game. He wasn't playing the best. You know what I mean? But there was still a little bit of work ethic there. I mean, you can't see he was a 0. Like, that's in my opinion anyway. I don't think that's right. But I'm certainly not saying he was good. Let's just put that one there.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I do honestly think there's a little bit just involved of, you know, they're still a little bit bitter. They're going to be. Eliza Mienda got 9 out of 10. It says world-class goal, picking the ball up just outside his own area, driving the length of the pitch and finishing well, but was brilliant on his own up top for the game. He says kept causing the home side problems with his movement and dribbling and was far our best attacker. You can't argue with Isaac Melenda that one, can you? He's becoming a powerhouse. Salas Abdul Samed, 6 out of 10. He says came on as we were trying to see the game out. That didn't happen, but he did okay in front of the back 4. Made a nice break forward to create half a chance for Isidore. Isidore, 6 out of 10. Well, he was barely involved, was he? Just had the one chance that saw him head comfortably over. Bellingham, 6 out of 10. Worked hard following his return, but a bit of rustiness saw him take a heavy touch. Alan Brown came on late. He was 6 out of 10, putting across for Isidore, and then tried to chest the ball down to create himself a chance, but got too much on it. Joe Anderson came on for his league debut and made a few clearances. Man of the match is Dan Neil, not Mienda. So there we go. I might surprise some folk, but a lot of people are saying that Dan Neil was man of the match. We're just going to catch up on some live messages on the chat. Let's have a look. And where are we at? Yeah, Trisha says they would be singing his praises, and I hear that. Yeah, they'll be singing his praises if he scored in the final. John Parr says, I understand why the ref gave the red, but it should be an easy appeal, and we should get justice. He deserves a break. Either way, Hume does, and it is right, because I think Hume's been an immense player. You can see by Hume's body language, he hardly touched him. Rooster Colburn says, who is this you have on? He hasn't a clue what he's on about. Watson, on the other side, nothing to do with being pettiness. He had a poor game today, simple. Naught to do with him leaving. I mean, yet Rooster's entitled to his opinion. We all are, and I respect your opinion without a shadow of a doubt. But my opinion is as well, I just think since Brighton's inquired about him and his injury, he's just not been the same player since. Rooster also says, Lebris tactics cost us nothing else. Rooster says, you're taking the P. 7 out of 10, Chris Rigg. Well, these aren't my ratings, by the way. I am reading off the Roker report. Rooster says, I'm off Cabbie. Loved you, but you're only showing what you want to show. Fair enough, mate. You're welcome to come back anytime you want. Trisha says, Rooster, I think you are being a bit harsh on Cabbie and Richie. People are entitled to their own opinion. Paul's...
That one is. It's just an opinion.
Of course it is. I'm not bothered what anybody. I'm not bothered what anybody says as long as they're not abusive. They're swearing. They can say I'm rubbish. They can say yeah rubbish. They can say blah blah. They're entitled to it as long as they're not nasty. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, I didn't say Watson was. I didn't say he was having a good game. I was just trying to give him a little bit of credit. You know what I mean? I thought that 0 rating was a little bit harsh on him. But that's all it was. But it's cool or whatever.
Of course it is. Paul Stratton, hello, you doing, mate? He's the Coventry City fan. He's a good friend of the channel as well. He often pops in. He says, are you capable of finding some form before the playoffs? He says, because at the moment, everybody wants to play Sunderland. Could that be tactics starting to work from Regis Labrie, given the impression that we're absolutely crap? But when the playoffs come, we're going to turn and show what we can do, what we were at the beginning of the season. Everybody's expecting, by what Paul Stratton's saying there, I wish we can get Sunderland. They're a walkover. They're absolutely awful. Do you know what I mean? Could the mental games be starting to work with Regis Labrie? We don't know.
Yeah. I think we're just living in hope that he's got a plan. I mean, his press conference that he did this week, prior to the Bristol City game, he did state, he says, look, he wants, basically in a nutshell, he wants to keep his best players fit and injury-free. And he is going to have a go in the playoffs. You know what I mean? He's got, you can tell he's got a plan, but he's obviously not letting that spill at the minute. Like, but he's, I've got a bit of trust in him, and I think, like Davey said on the last show, we're going to be coming out guns blazing, playing like we did at the start of the season. I think the pressure's going to be totally off and just go for it.
John Nesbitt says, evening. Good evening, John. Good to see you. Ollie says, Tommy was just a body on the pitch. He was getting shrugged off the ball. My dad was saying, where are we at? My dad was saying it's like 10 men on the pitch when Tom is on, and he's absolutely disgrace for joining Brighton. I mean, yeah, Ollie, I know where you're coming from. I do think his timing's a bit rank, to be quite honest with you. But how many players do we see doing this? Jordan Henderson, Jordan Pickford, that Darren Bent. They go where the money is, and they want to go where they think they can better themselves, and they are going to a better team. I mean, how long is it since we've been in the Premier League? We're not doing ourselves any favours by year after year staying away from the Premier League. You want to keep your players, you want to be an established Premier League, top half of the Premier League club. So I cannot blame them for gone, but that's just my opinion as well. Ollie says, look, we can't always blame it on the ref. You can't always blame it on the ref, but on this occasion, I sort of did, because I think that was a game changer today where we went down to 10 men. Yeah. Ollie says, I would have Tommy Watson every match at a 1,000 match rating. Trisha says, in my opinion, you and Richie talk a lot of sense, and he was being unfair to you both. Trisha, like I say, he's entitled to his opinion, and I've got to read out the negative comments and disagreeing comments as well as the positives. That's what I've got to do. Everybody's entitled to it. John Nesbitt says, forget the playoff, lads. We are shocking. I have no confidence in this team. No passion or effort. It's a total horror show. It doesn't matter who we play. We won't get to the Premier with this shower. And Packer says, hey, Cabbie, Richie is doing a good job on your channel. Well, thank you, Packers. Very good words from you, mate. What do you think about what John's just said there, then, Richie? Forget the playoffs. The lads are shocking. I have no confidence in this team. No passion or effort. It's a total horror show. He's almost certain that we're not going to get anywhere. What do you reckon to that?
I mean, you can look at it two ways, can't you, at the minute? You can either look at it about the recent form and the way we've been playing this past 6 games, or you can look at it another way, where you can think, actually, is this all part of, Reggie's plan? Is this all part of the process? Is this just sort of like not too much pressure on the lads at the minute, getting the game time, getting the match conditioning in? Is this what he's using these next few games for? So I can see both sides. I can see, obviously the first point as well, where you're thinking there's no way we're going to get anywhere in the playoffs when we come to it and play these teams. You know what I mean? We're playing absolutely terrible, and we are. I'm not denying we are really bad, but like I've just said to you there before, Cabbie, you've got to have a little bit of hope. I think you've got to think: is there a plan here? Is he going to be, deciding his first team for start off, who he's going to play for his starting team if he's got everybody fit? That's going to be a big decider as well. And like I said to you earlier on today, Cabbie, on the live stream, he's got to play, in my opinion, his strongest team before the playoffs, because we've got to get that team, sort of like gelled a little bit together to know where everybody is and what everybody's headspace is, where they're at. And he's got to get the first team playing soon, and that does include Lafay playing. And I know everybody's saying, don't play him, wrap him up and bubble wrap, whatever it is, right? But he's got to play at some point. He's got to get the condition. He's got to get the fitness. He's got to get used to playing alongside his teammates again, because he's been out injured for quite a while. He's got to get up to speed as well. So I can see both points, and I can see the both strong arguments as well. But for me personally, I'm still holding on to what obviously Davey said on the show on Monday is, look, it's going to be our week. We've got a plan here. Just wait and see. And I really, really hope that is, what's going to happen. I know it's like sort of like trying to just sort of like pull at strings with it a little bit, but I think there's got to be something, Cabbie. I don't know about you, mate, but I believe that.
Well, the quality we've got on that squad, I don't care what anybody says. We've got too much talent on there to be a walkover in them playoffs. Colin says, to me, Tommy is a young kid and he's big dreams. He says, good luck to the lad. Yeah. Paul Stratton, he says, hope to find your mojo soon. He says, good luck to you all and your fabulous fan base. That's the Coventry City fan. Same to you, Paul. All the best to you, mate. There is some really spot-on Coventry City fans. And, yeah, it's let the good times roll. Of course, Coventry City got a good 2-0 win today, which spruce things up a bit. Oh, it looks like that Rooster bloke unsubscribed to my channel. Well, never mind. Dear me, some people really sort of take things to heart, don't they?
Get over your head, man.
Eh?
Just let it get over your head. If you can't respect other people's opinion, how are you going to have your own opinion respected? That's the way I say it, Cabbie.
Goodness knows.
You know?
Goodness knows.
Whatever.
So Championship we have got it's Leeds, Oxford 0, Leeds United have just scored by the look at things. There's big flash is coming up on my screen. It's definitely looking like Leeds United and Burnley going up.
Yeah.
Even though
I think Burnley will win the league now, Cabbie.
Aye. Middlesbrough, like I say, they got a last gasp winner. One of the surprise results was Blackburn 4, Millwall 1.
Yeah.
Swansea beat Hull. There's quite a few sendings off. There's a sending off for us. West Brom had a player sent off. Plymouth had a player sent off. Hull City had a player sent off. Watford had 2 players sent off. So is there some bungs going around the referees or something today to see how many bloody cards? Talk about being Good Friday. There's nothing Good Friday about the generosity of the red cards, is there? Dear me. So we'll look at the top of the table at the minute. Let's get the table up and let's have a look and see what's going on. Let's have a look and see what's happening here. Solomon scored for Leeds. Right, the league table. If the thing loads up. Right. Yeah, so we've got Leeds United top of the league at the minute. 43 matches played. And they're on 91 points. They're on top at the minute with a better goal difference. As you can see, Burnley is second with 91 points. Burnley really turning on the heat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They've won 5 out of the last 6. Since the 4th of March, they've won 1, drawn 1, 1, 1, drawn 1, 1. That's championship material. You can't argue anything about that. Leeds, to be fair, they're picking back up again after their little bit of a blip. I think their turning point for them was definitely that win against Middlesbrough and Preston. And then, of course, it's looking like the automatic promotion hopes are the over for Sheffield United. 3 games to go. They're on 86 points. 5 points behind Burnley. I can't see Burnley losing a game rest of the season now, to be honest with you.
No, I don't. Definitely
not. So if Leeds win tonight, they're up, aren't they?
How many games left, Cabbie?
There's 43 games played. There's only Sheffield United can catch. So one of them 2 teams is up. It has to be. Am I right in saying this? Sheffield United are on 86 points.
So I'm saying how many games left? There's
3 games. There's 3 games left. So definitely, Burnley or Leeds, one of them 2 teams will be getting promoted. It's just not set in stone yet, because Sheffield United could still catch Leeds or they could catch Burnley, but one of those 2 teams will definitely be playing Premier League football next season, because Sheffield United can't overtake and knock both of them out because we're too far behind. Do you know what I mean? It has to be 3rd and 4th place to catch 1st and 2nd, and it's only 3rd that can catch it. So one of them 2 are guaranteed Premier League football next season. And then, of course, we've got Bristol City behind Sunderland. We're on 76. Bristol City's on 67. We only needed a point today to consolidate 4th. But to be honest with you, I would like to finish 4th, because it sounds, even if we didn't get promoted, we can say, oh, we finished 4th last season. Sounds better than finishing 5th. But Bristol City, I think they're too far back on the points to overtake us on 4th. But they've had a good run of form. Bristol City, since the 11th of March, they've drawn 1, won 1, lost 1, won 1, won 1, drawn 1, won 1. So they're putting a decent run together. Coventry's had a mixed bag. They've lost 1 since the 11th of March. 1, lost, 1, drawn, 1. And I think it's looking like it's Captain Curtains for West Brom. They're on 60 points. They're 6 points behind now Coventry City, who in 6th place. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, West Brom. Middlesbrough, if they hadn't got a 1 against Plymouth, I would say it's howdy doody time for you as well for the playoffs. See you later. But that last minute wins just gave them a little bit of glimmer of hope as well, because they're now only 3 points behind Coventry City. So who's the fixtures got again for Middlesbrough? Yeah, Coventry Middlesbrough, last game of the season. Oh my God, that could be the decider who gets the playoff spot. Millwall, I think, have slipped out of it. And the bottom 3, they did, yeah. Plymouth, they were harsh done by today. They're not down, because they're 40 bottom of the league. And 42 points is Cardiff, 2nd off bottom, 3rd off bottom, great win, 6-pointer. Luton beat Derby 1-0. They're level on points with Derby on 43 points, just 2 points behind Hull City. So, yeah, it's. Do you think it's definitely Burnley and Leeds gone up. I can't see Sheffield United making a massive overhaul for that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think they've got it. I mean, obviously, it's there's always ifs and buts, you know what I mean? But like, I cannot see Burnley, especially losing another game, like you just said, Cabbie. And I think Leeds have started to pick up the form again. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's fair. Those two have probably been the best two teams this season in the Championship by a long stretch. But are you worried about Sheffield United in the playoffs? Because you're not.
Nah. Just because mentally, because they were in the top two for so long, and they've slipped out. It always happens to the team that's slipped into third from being in the top two. It never seems to happen for them. Quality, you would say, yes, but mentally, I think there's going to be a bit of pressure on them. What do you think?
I'm not sure about them. I know they've got a good team, haven't they? And they've got some really good attacking players.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I can't make my mind up about them, Cabbie. I don't know whether I'm bothered about them or I'm not. I mean, it'll be if things stand the way they are, they'll be playing Coventry in the playoffs, and that won't be an easy game for either side. And I don't know whether that might work well in our favour. But then it'll be one of them two that will be playing in the final, and that's what worries us a little bit. You know what I mean? I can't make my mind up yet about them. I just don't know. I can't decide, mate.
Just kind of catch up on the chat as well. Paul Stratton says, oh, wait a minute, go back. Ollie says, the playoffs are just 2 cup finals. Paul Stratton says, hope you find your mojo. Good luck to you all and your fabulous fan base. Said that. Tricia says, has he spat his dummy out of the pram? I think he's on about the chap that left on the chat. Goodness knows. Ollie says, every team has the talent, and they get beat. Tricia says, Solomon scored for Leeds. Paul Stratton says, also, catch you, Cabbie, another time. All other teams will be battle hardened. He says, hope next 3 games you can come to the party. Well, we're already there at the party, aren't we? That's the thing. The Packer Andrew says, Cabbie, there was a young man on my channel yesterday spamming. He said I was swearing a lot on his channel. He's not even got one. You just get spammers, mate. That's what you get. You just get trolls everywhere. Tricia says, Packer, he says, there are some right tools out there when I better to do. Ollie says, remember the Blackburn match last year? He says, look, it's just too perfect. The kickoff time, 3 p.m, same day, same team. I think it will be about 5-1 to Blackburn. Paul Graham, hello, mate. He says, hi, lads. How are you? Good to see you, mate. Ben Allison, good to see you, Ben. He says, hi, everyone. That was not a red card. And I do agree with you, Ben, on that one. I mean, Richie's also said the same thing. Have a look at the highlights. Middlesbrough, Plymouth. You'll see exactly. It's virtually a carbon copy. Their penalty that they got. It was, if players are going down that easy to get a red card and get players sent off and get penalties, then it's only encouraging more cheats to do the same. As far as I'm concerned. Lowy87, he says, moronic result, that's you done. Says Lowy, he says, it was a crap game today, says Lacey. Second half, it weren't the best. Lowy says, Cov will be 5th fella, and we're coming for you. Yeah, Lowy, I think you're a Coventry fan. Yeah, you're coming for us. Yep, you're going to say that. You've got a great record against us. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. John Nesbitt says, you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. He says, regard this official absolute disgrace, Muppet. He says, Watson gave him a brush and shovel and send him to clean the academy. He couldn't even do that. He says, shocking attitude. Stephen Martin says, I am Cabbie. What you're applying to there, Stephen, just because of a recap if you're still on. John Nesbitt says, Cabbie, none of the teams in the playoffs are any good. Remember, this division is garbage. I mean, you've got the top two, top three. I think the sort of to cut a short story long, the bottom threes that come down usually are miles ahead of the rest of the championship, bar the odd now and again the rare chimes where you get the likes of Sunderland that'll just crash straight down, or the Luton Towns. But the majority side, the three teams that come down from the Premier League, they're already miles ahead of you before a ball's even kicked, before a signing's even made in the championship. Ollie says, as you say, Cabbie, Sheffield United will be shocked to bits. And are you doing this show on Monday? Yeah, of course I am. There'll be a show on Monday as well after the Blackburn game. Tricia says, Plachetta for Oxford has had a yellow. John says, who is this Muppet, Lowy87? Get on your own site if you can't respectfully. He says, get lost. Stephen Martin says, Sheffield will want to make up for missing out. So Stephen Martin reckons Sheffield could be angry because the fact, right, we're going to make sure here. Ollie says, imagine next year if we don't get promoted and we get Blackburn on Easter Monday, same time, same day. It's picture perfect. I mean, I suppose, would they have to sort of speak to it? I mean, if we didn't make up for the playoffs, if we didn't get up through the playoffs, Richie, what would you say what could happen to the club next season regarding will the manager still be here? We'll still have the same owners. How many players is going to go? Are we going to go stronger? Because the bar's now set high that the fact now we're playoffs, a lot of fans are already saying it's got to be top two next season. That's what we've got to go for. But that is a big ask for. That's a big ask to get for top two, because they're miles ahead, the teams that come down. So if the top two is our goal, then they've got some work to do, haven't they? And I've not got much confidence in Speakman with the injuries injured players he keeps on signing. What do you reckon? I mean, because we have to talk about it. It's not for the end of the season. We're going to know soon enough whether we're in the Premier League or back in this division, stay in this division. So what do you think? Any positives or negatives if Sunderland stayed in this league? What do you think?
So if we did obviously not get through in the playoffs, personally I'll be good, because I would love to see Sunderland back in the Premier League. After obviously all this time, but we were an established Premier League team for quite a long time. Not being deluded saying that we were. So I would love to see we're back there to get that status. But if we didn't get through on the playoffs and we did stay down in the Championship next season, you've got to remember these three teams coming down from the Premier League are getting the parachute payments, and they've got players. Yes, they'll lose players, but they've still got players who've got Premier League experience and playing at the higher standard. So there's that's probably the reason why those three teams are going to be the main sort of like 1, 2, and 3, if you like. What I think will happen to us, Cabbie, is I don't think Reggie will leave. I can't see him leaving. I think they would give him another season, and then if we didn't get up next season, then maybe when decisions might be made. And I can't see the club being sold. There's no profit for him to make off it. Let's be honest, right? He's not going to sell the club. So that's just my opinion on that side of things. With the players and things like that, Cabbie, we're going to have to just, we'll lose Mackem straight away. We'll lose Lafay straight away, right? Those are the two, obviously, star players that we've got at the moment. They'll be gone because they'll just go back to the parent clubs.
Yeah.
We'll end up selling Joe. We'll end up selling Rigg. We'll end up selling Ballard. We'll end up selling maybe Hume, maybe a couple of other players, and we'll make quite a decent amount of wedge of money from them, right? We'll just have to rebuild, Cabbie. It's as simple as that. But we need to learn some lessons from what we've been doing, like you've just said about Speakman signing these injured players, unknown players who have got slight knocks, and we might just see how they go, like Samet has, you know what I mean? And we need to get experienced players in. Whether that'll happen or not, I don't know, but keep the same sort of model with the youth players. I do like that idea, but we've got to get experience in. We've got to get an experienced Championship or Premier League striker who's not getting his game in our team to get the goals, because that's what we're missing this season. We need that. But yes, it'll be devastating, mate, and I would be absolutely gutted if we don't go up. But at the same time, I still think we would have a good chance of making a challenge next season again, because of obviously the money coming in. We know what it takes now to get to that position, you know what I mean? Keep the same staff, keep the same manager, keep everything the way it is, just rebuild the squad.
It's tricky about the injuries and stuff, isn't it? I mean, as much as we like Mundle, he's no good to us at all if he's just gonna keep getting injured and injured and injured and injured. I mean, he was only back a couple of weeks or so, and the same hamstring happened again. It'd be interesting to see, you know, these injured players, if they've done the homework, and how often has Mundle been injured at other clubs. We certainly know how much oh, for God's sake, I've forgotten the little lad that's always injured. What's his name? Pavida.
Pavida.
They must have done the homework and seen how he's just a sick note, Sammy, because I mean all the supporters are crying out saying like, oh, glad we got rid of him and this and that and the other. Mm-hmm. If we are signing some players that very rarely get injured, and then all of a sudden they just get injured left, right and centre coming up here, then you have to look at the fact is, are we doing anything wrong in the physio room or the way we're training? Is there such a thing as pushing the players too hard? I keep on saying this. Is it because of the fact it's freezing cold in that North Sea? Is it too cold for them? I don't know. It just seems to be with Sunderland all the time. It's just reoccurring injuries season after season after season, doesn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, Ballard's been made of glass, hasn't he? You know what I mean? I love Ballard. He's a Rolls-Royce centre-half, in my opinion, especially in the Championship. But he's injured constantly. But the only other thing I would consider on that, Cabbie, is for the likes of Mundle coming into the Championship, do you not think he's not used to it? I mean, I know he played at Tottenham in the under-21s, and he's played maybe a bit of, you know, English football in the lower levels, but he went to Standard Liège, and that, obviously, come on, those leagues over there nowhere near as fast and as physical as the Championship and the Premier League are. So maybe, do you not think as well, on another note, that like some of these players are not used to sort of like the English game and how physical and quick the Championship is, you know, and that could be something else that's causing these injuries, that they're just not used to it. They haven't been conditioned to it, you know. But the thing is, once you get a hamstring injury, Cabbie, it reoccurs all the time. I mean, I heard that on Total Sport. I'm sure Gary Bennett said it, and he's right. These hamstring injuries will just keep reoccurring and reoccurring and reoccurring, because apparently that's what happens, you know.
Just going to catch up on the chat, Richie. God, they're coming in thick and fast. Yeah, Paul Stratton says, John Nesbitt, he says, show some respect. It's all about opinion. I think he's on about when he was having a go at that Coventry fan. Ollie says, my lineup for SAFC Blackburn, formation 4-3-3, attack prediction 2-1 to Sunderland with Mienda to score 2. D Hall, hello mate, good to see you. He says, Borough fans will be saying we let Bristol City win on purpose. John Nesbitt says, Mr. Stratton, it's his attitude. He says he can't be bothered with people like him. And we're on about the Coventry fan that says laughing a bit at us by saying ha ha ha, we're coming for you and all that and the other. Ollie says, sorry, didn't complete it. Pato, Brown, Meffin, 09, Hielder, Neil, Job, Enzo, Attack, he says, Mienda, Isidore, Rig. Stephen Martin says, I don't see Southampton doing anything next season because they've had such a dire season, I suppose, in the Premier League this season. He can't see Southampton doing well, but it's just such a strange thing. I mean, let's not forget Southampton only went up through the playoffs last season. They didn't get automatics, but you've always got that chance. If one team doesn't go back up, then it is opening the door for somebody else to take the Premier League club team's place, isn't it? So, so who was it went down last season? It was Leeds United, Sheffield United, and Luton. So therefore, Luton's not going to go back up. So it's opened the door for an extra team, and that extra team is looking like Burnley, isn't it?
Yeah.
I
still win the league.
Oh,
they've been brilliant. Losing 2 games out of 43. It's just unbelievable, that, like.
Yeah, you can't, I mean, it should have been 3 games if we'd have scored them bloody penalties. Ollie says, in my opinion, he says he really liked the look of Samed. Tricia says the team need an experienced player who they can look up to and be guided by, in which we've not really had much. John Nesbitt says, okay, he says, Neil, Rigg, Job, Hjelder for starters. Get rid, sell them all on, use the money for experienced quality players. If this owner doesn't change, sell up and just go. Ollie also says, how many times has Ben Middlemas been on the bench and we haven't seen him? Pixel Rich, hello Pixel, good to see you. He says, Pavida needs gone for me. He says, trouble is, I believe he's on a 4-year deal, and whoever's made that decision to sign him on a 4-year deal needs to pick up his prescription from the doctors, because the lad clearly doesn't want to be here, does he? He's just pulling sickie after sickie. I mean, it's ridiculous. Colin Major says, Pavida will be the man to watch next year. Ha ha. He says, only kidding. So we're going to move on to Blackburn. We've got 4 minutes left of the show. What do you guys on the chat think? If you want to put your predictions in for the Blackburn game, Richie, what you thinking against Blackburn?
Considering what they've done today, I think they're going to be on sort of like a bit of a high on it. But we're at home, aren't we, Cabbie, on Monday?
We're on Monday, yeah.
So we've got a bit of home advantage. So let's be safe here. And I'm just going to go for like a 1-1 or a 2-2 draw.
Fair enough. I'm gonna go for. I don't want to say a boring 0-0 because I mean. I'm gonna go for 0-0. I'm gonna go for 0-0. I'm gonna go the typical stalemate. Pre-season friendly carry on, and that's what I'm going for. Ollie says, bye, it's been a really good show, can't wait for Monday evening, been a really exciting show. He says, bye, Cabbie and Richie. Dortmund, hello Dortmund, good to see you, pal. He says, Sunderland 4, Blackburn nil. He thinks we're going to give them a thrashing. John Nesbitt says, okay lads, good crack again, good evening. Blackburn, he says, who cares? Oh yeah, I know where you're coming from, John, who cares? Ollie says, and have a great rest of the weekend and have a good Easter Sunday, Cabbie and Richie, bye bye. Tricia says, thanks for the stream, lads. It's been a pleasure as always. Catch up with you all on Monday. Have a good weekend. Packer says, Sunderland 3, Blackburn 1. He says Burnley there, but he does mean Blackburn. I know what he's on about. So there's a couple of positive results there, to be honest with you. So he says 2-1 to Sunderland, Ollie. He says, bye-bye, we'll catch you later. Paul Stratton says, you need a good win, you'll be fine, says Paul Stratton. And yeah, and good luck to you lot as well, Paul. And Dortmund says, cheers, guys. So we'll end the stream there, and we will say hello to Big Davey, who's back at home. He said he's just not feeling up to it tonight, which is absolutely fine. We all get them days and stuff. So you're welcome to come on Monday. Hope you're feeling a little bit better for it soon, Davey. But if you're watching the show, Didn't it be too negative, Davey? Didn't it be too negative? You're a glass half. Got to be glass half full, not like me, yeah. All right, man. Richard, cheers for joining, mate. Cheers, Pixel Rich. Thanks for joining up, mate. And we will see you